Hello, I have returned from my trip, and oh my God, look at my camera. You cannot see me at all. But my ring light is already in my giant suitcase tub thing. One of the three massive pieces of luggage I'm going to be lugging across the world in less than 2 weeks. So I'm just in here in the shadows. Uh, it is 10:30 a.m. here, but it looks like I'm in a fireside at the middle of the night. I think it's because my walls, like my built-in doors in the back there are white, so it's like making it so much more reflective off here. Oh, hey Em! Thanks for joining us. And hey Jules. It is like fireside. It's very chill. Okay, let's get cracking into this, shall we? I'm hoping that we can finish the game today because there's like 2 chapters left. Um, and we did get through 2 chapters in one stream a couple of streams ago. I think we've done that a couple of times, yeah. And yeah, I just want to I want to finish this excellent game because I want to know how it ends, and I want to finish this game before I move across the planet and it becomes impossible to stream for like another month or 2 months or whatever. Nice. Jack into the nun moment. Oh, you finished Majora's Mask tonight. I've never finished that game. Can you believe it? Um, it was one of those games as a kid that I would like play with other kids. And so I just like got to have the fun of running around Hyrule solving people's problems without, actually getting to figure out the ending of that game. Oh God. Now, my I'm not getting any sound, so this is fun for me because I have new headphones. There it is. Oh, that's loud. I have new noise canceling headphones and I love them. They are good. I'm really glad I got them before my 24-hour flight to New York because I don't have a problem with planes, but nobody likes being on a plane. I can't sleep on planes is the thing. And these are a bit big, so I don't know if I'll be able to sleep with them on, but they might be able to help me rest. Yeah. I'm glad you could get yours back. Um, yeah, we had fun flights. Me and Jules went to Aotearoa, New Zealand, last month, and it ruled. But I did have a couple of stress moments on the plane because I found that my fountain pen really does not like pressurized cabins, and the ink will decide that it's time to just splort everywhere. And that's not a great experience to have ever. Least of all when you're in like business class on your dead dad's stolen frequent flyer points and you're trying to be so cool and normal about it. And you're trying to fill out the entrance to country card, the thing you got to be like, how long are you staying and where were you before you came to this country? And but like the ink is going everywhere. Oh my god, this absolute wizard moment. Yeah, emotionally, if not physically turbulent, is an excellent way to describe our flights. I wish I had more physical turbulence. I love turbulence. It's like roller coaster stuff to me. It rules. Oh, okay. We have returned to Lynbarrow Abbey. What happened last week? Last week. It's been more than a month since I streamed. We didn't do any July Nunday. That's so sad. Um, Took my big birthday break. Okay. What happened last time? Where we left off, in a month you were joking about this on stream. I would have like gotten so mad at you if you'd said that in the moment. I would have been so upset. So our last session, we left off in I was going to say the dungeons, the cellar, the wine cellar, where they're going to be hosting a joint wake for Catherine and birthday party for Hedwig, which is a delightful event to have. And Hedwig had a tarot card reading for the first time, and she was being very Catholic about it. Um, Prior to that, we had some excellent times with Angela in the garden, where she was like threatening Hedwig with a knife. It was very sick and cool. Um, I should have like revised for this. I'm sorry. I woke up like half an hour ago. I've been on that Pokemon sleep grind. I got a shiny Slowpoke though, so anyway, I had to issue a correction. This entire time I've been operating under the premise that Angela is pregnant. She is not visibly pregnant. She just has a delightfully fat ass. I figured that out by staring at her knife CG a normal amount and then looking at her character sprites. And she's not pregnant. She's just like mad fake. I can't believe I made that mistake for so many. This is part 8, and this is when I realized that she's not pregnant. She got a big ass. But she stands in it like all the way out. Like, oh my god. Oh, whatever. Um, well, let's crack back into it, and I'm sure I'll remember stuff as we go. Like, as though I could ever forget Flora's delightful cat drawing with its human nose and its soulful eyes. I love that fucking thing so much. All right, back at it with delightful Sister Moira. What's got Captain in such a bad mood, do you think? She gestured towards the tall woman who was leaning against a barrel all by herself, looking positively ashen. Huh, that's not like her. Not at all. Do you think we should ask her? Maybe later. Not now. I'd rather wait until she's got less wine in her. Hmm. I made eye contact with Catherine by accident while the others were talking. She sighed deeply, then looked away to pour herself another cup. That's really not like her. I had in fact seen Catherine in a similar state in the Misericorde not very long ago, when she had been staring into the fire and lamenting her lot in life, when we learned that she had been framed for a murder. She had alluded to her old home life then. Now that I knew the rumors surrounding her exit from the village, I had a sinking feeling about what was bothering her. Oh, she's sad because everybody thinks she murdered Catherine. Or Hedwig thinks she murders Catherine. Or at least is afraid that she could have. You don't think she really did what they said, do you? Kill her husband? Moira and I both coughed into our drinks. No, I don't think she did. No, no, not me, no. She's just a bit odd, but I don't think she's that kind of odd. Look who's talking. Hi, Flora! Hi, baby girl! Oh, my delightful teenage daughter. Flora had arrived without anyone noticing and looked ready to pick a fight for some reason. Eustace turned around to address her curtly. I never said I wasn't odd, but I think we can all agree, Catherine and I are different kinds of odd. Never mind. Wine me. Moira obliged immediately, lifting up the wineskin to pour a mug for the impatient young woman. Go easy on the stuff this time. You're not my mother. Thank God for that. Wine me, yeah, I know, right? Flora stuck her tongue out at Eustace and left, presumably to go bother somebody else. Christ. I know it's normal for young nuns to act out, but she's been acting out for a long time now. I bristled at the curse, but the insinuation that Eustace found Flora's behaviour somehow beneath her bothered me more. I opened my mouth to say something about it, but Moira got there first. It's probably for the best. She was always more tactful than me. You like to act out too, Eustace. Just in more elaborate ways, I suppose. Yeah. She dressed up as a knight and, like, terrorized everyone as a ghost. My pranks have always been elaborate and thought-provoking. Glasser. With, like, the leather wineskin, so it's just like... What thought was dressing up as a ghost meant to provoke? Oh, a ghost! I love you, Moira. We all laughed, even Eustace. I wish I knew how to do that sort of thing. If I had been left to my own devices, I would have likely started another argument with Eustace. Woman to woman, Eustace and I had a relationship that seemed liable to fall apart at a moment's notice. With Moira around, I felt part of an inseparable trio. I had a very dark thought related to a suit of cards. It is adorable. It's very cute. Eustace glanced towards the room at Margaret, who was fiddling with her lute while standing on top of a crate. Margaret, lute night, yes! Get keen. Catherine had wandered over to make the makeshift stage as well. It still looked a bit dour. Wait, hold on. History. Margaret. Margaret was fiddling with her lute while standing on top of a crate. It's a lute crate. Now that's what I call puns. Her and Margaret exchanged a few words. Neither of them looked thrilled, honestly. Finally, Margaret shrugged. Catherine sighed, and then appeared to pull herself somewhat together, somewhat miraculously. Margaret strummed a chord, and spoke loudly to everyone gathered in the cellar. Everyone, I know we have some very important drinking to get to, but there's someone who won't be joining us tonight who we need to pay tribute to. A murmur of approval echoed through the room. Nun fortnight. Nun night. Fortnight. Great. I'm good at this. Someone who can't join us ever again. It has been several weeks since we lost our dear sister, Catherine II. I'm sure she'd be delighted to see all of you here. Annoyed, perhaps, at a few of you, but that's nothing a few drinks couldn't fix, I'm sure of it. Everyone chuckled, but I was left confused. What sort of mourning was this? We will never have a sister like her. I dare say there isn't a convent in the country who will. In the world, most likely. I miss having the competition. Her and I had unparalleled beauty, wit, and grace. I came out on top, of course, but it was very close. Good to know. More laughter. But she handily bested me at other things. Her boundless love for others. Her endless interest in all manner of scholarship. Her frankly rabid hatred of Italians. What do I do with this information? Everyone found this one particularly hilarious, but I was more lost than ever. Is someone here Italian? Because we know Catherine II was Irish, so that's not like she was Italian and hated it joke. There's some sort of joke here that I'm not getting, which works because Hedwig doesn't get it either, and I want to know. Hedwig wants to know, and everybody else is just laughing. And the Spanish. Or was it the Portuguese? I can't remember. She certainly got her licks in on the English as well, which she raised her mug into the air, and the crowd followed suit. Fair play. Fair play to all of it, I suppose. Where else but England would Catherine II get stuck with a convent full of Spaniards and Italians? She was Irish, of course. Moira put her hands together in front of her mouth and let out an approving howl so loud I flinched. Everyone else found this very amusing. She liked to remind us of that whenever she could. I once asked her, why not go back to Ireland then, when I was particularly irritated with some of her good-natured ribbing. And I swear this is true, she looked me dead in the eye and said, my dearest Catherine, ignoring the fact that I must remain here as a nun, I would never consider Lynbarrow anything less than my home. How very trite, I thought. I still do, most of the time. Lynbarrow barely feels like a home to me. The hallways are draughty. What little work there is to do is tedious, and the tedium only increases when there is no work left to do. It rains all the time, and it's freezing cold even when the sun is shining. That all being said, I realized something recently. I may grouse about this place, and I'm certainly not going to stop, but Lynbarrow certainly feels like less of something without Catherine II around. And I think perhaps, if she considered it a home, I could too. So maybe it is home, for better or worse. I miss her, and I think I would miss all of you just the same if were any of you to leave. Most of you. The crowd laughed again. Catherine raised her mug and began pointing at people in front of her. Charity, what will you miss most about Catherine II? I'll miss chatting with her about the past. Nobody else here wants to hear it. Too bloody right. Martyr. I'll miss her assistance in the cellars. Flora? I'll miss having a real friend. Adela? I will miss having a sparring partner. Hold on to that one. I doubt you'll ever duel someone again. You two were complete bad women. I want to see that so bad. I want to see Adele and Catherine duel so bad. Please. 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 Eustace. I will miss our conversations in the library. Someone Eustace enjoyed talking to. What a rare person she was. I think we only have one other here like that. Darcy? Sorry, what was your question? What are you going to miss most about Catherine II? Oh, I'll miss having someone to discuss ghosts and spirits with. It's steady on. Moira. I'll miss her accent. Oh, she was choking back tears. Everyone chuckled sympathetically at her silly answer. It's not a silly answer. I'm gonna miss Australian accents so much when I go to New York. It was a little taste of home, I'm sure. Hedwig. Only joking. Margaret could have shrunk into a mote of dust. But she did have interactions with Catherine. There are things she misses about Catherine. They were going to read Medea together. I'll miss playing music with her. And we'll all miss hearing it. Speaking of, Margaret, you did say Catherine wouldn't be joining us tonight. But perhaps if we drink hard enough and sing loud enough, she'll join us. Am I right? A little cheering sound effect. Come now, if I can't hear you, she certainly won't. Am I right? Everyone began stomping and clapping. Some people were banging on barrels to make extra noise. Yeah, Jules, I'll have to call you just so you can be Australian at me. Oh. Tunes? It was so raucous that I worried the Superior might descend the stairs to chastise us all, but nobody else seemed to mind. The evening descended to chaos from there. I had no idea what I was meant to do. Once Catherine's little speech was concluded, there didn't seem to be much else in the way of eulogizing at this wake. The sisters were all drinking, laughing, playing chess, and reading fortunes from that demonic deck of cards. Frankly, I felt sick. I stood at the edge of the cellar next to one of the barrels, holding a mug that I took the smallest sip from every now and then. I felt even more out of place here than I had in the Misericorde. I was confounded by the realization that that place, which was designated specifically for rule-breaking, had felt less debauched than what I saw before me. Margaret played her lute for what seemed like hours, and it fucking rules. Taking breaks only to swig whatever drink Catherine handed to her. Catherine herself seemed to be in a better mood than earlier, although she might simply have been too drunk to feel anything. Even Moira was acting far more depraved than I was used to seeing. She was dancing like mad, bumping into people and cheering and banging on barrels to create a makeshift percussion section for Margaret. Adela made her way over to me, smiling. What are you doing all the way over here? Oh, I'm just tired, that's all. Oh, come and join in. I'd rather not. I'm happy here. Do you feel out of place? I just didn't know Catherine that well. You're not here because of how well you knew Catherine. You're here because everybody likes you. What rubbish. I didn't know what to say to her, so I took a sip of my drink in a feeble attempt to hide. She's so sweet. And Hedwig has so many problems that she just can't believe her. You need to trust what the cards said. Allow yourself to discover where you belong. I nodded in a non-committal way. Mercifully, this seemed to satisfy Adela, who danced off back towards the rest of the group. I could hear wood scraping against stone. Moira had pushed a crate next to Margaret and was clambering atop it clumsily. Everyone! She wobbled and nearly lost her balance until Margaret caught her. Oh, thank you. Everyone, I think it's time we properly welcomed our new chronicle. She pointed at me drunkenly, and I froze. Everyone turned and raised their mugs to me. Catherine could never be replaced. But Hedwig is a lovely new presence here, don't you all think? I was practically begging to be struck down by a lightning bolt. You're in a cellar, no hope, kid. Anything to end this embarrassment. The feast had been bad enough, but seeing the sisters fully uninhibited, smiling at me, seemingly entirely earnestly as they toasted me, it made my blood boil. I don't really know why. It just felt wrong. But looking at all these drunken, drooping faces gawping at me, I wasn't sure I wanted their approval. Ooh. Oh, Hedwig. Hooray, cheers for Hedwig! Whoop whoop! Whoop whoop! Whoop! I was rescued by an ugly sound. Oh no. Oh, I was worried someone had thrown up, but Flora had wandered over to one of the casks and attempted to open it, only to have broken the bung completely. Flora! What are you doing? The skin was empty. I was going to get more and it just broke. Adela and Marta stormed over to the barrel to attempt to help. Flora was covered in red wine. Her wimple was undoubtedly ruined. You really are a piece of work, girl. That is not even the wine we are drinking. I bloody hope not. It smells awful. Oh, the sherry! Oh no. What did you do? I didn't do anything. It broke on its own, more or less. You ripped the whole faucet out! How did she do that? Damn, Flora. Strong. How did you manage that? I barely touched it. You're a bad worker and a worse liar. Get out of my way. Whatever. This was Sister Catherine's first batch of sherry, wasn't it? No, the sherry. Of all the casks to break. Well, this one is gone for good. Marta yanked Flora towards her by the scruff of her neck. Oh my god, like she's a kitten. Oh! Oh, and yeah. Yep, and this is a 15th century convent. And smacked her face with raw power I wouldn't have expected from her. What do you have to say for yourself? Marta raised her hand again, but everyone rushed forward. That's enough, Marta. It was an accident. Marta let go of Flora and walked away to join Charity on the other side of the room. The cask was still gushing wine onto the floor. Everyone started inching backwards to give the dark liquid a wider berth. Moira tried to pull Flora aside to comfort her, but the younger nun sprinted past her towards the cellar stairs. What should we do? There is not much we can do now. It will soak into the stone. Some got into the casks beneath it, too. Those are probably ruined now as well. Just from having something poured on it. This is a delicate business. What was it you said about soaking into the stone? It will, believe it or not. Although a mop would not go amiss. No, let it. What? What are you talking about? This is Catherine's sherry, right? The wine she worked on when she tried her hand at winemaking. We should let the Abbey have it. Oh, you mean? Catherine made this. If there's a piece of her soul or spirit or essence, I don't know, then the Abbey should drink it. All of it. She can be part of the Abbey forever. Not just stuck in some barrels. Eustace! That is a beautiful idea. I have never known you to speak with such poetry. I have my moments. You shall do, Eustace. I agree. What a beautiful way to honor her memory. It is certainly unique. Befitting, I suppose. When you say all of it, Sister Eustace. All of it. Anything Catherine made. The mood had soured somewhat when Flora had broken the cask, but a new buzz of activity was starting. Should we just pop the rest open? Sorry, muting to cough there. Let's smash them. That is more like it. A cheer went around the room. Should I go get an axe from the workshop? Good idea. No, I have a better idea. Eustace, why not use Catherine's sword? Oh my god! This is so cool! They're gonna use Catherine's sword, which she was beheaded with, to bust open a bunch of wine casks and just let it flood everywhere. Oh! Isn't that dangerous? Absolutely. No more or less than an axe. It is so biblical. What about spears? I would really prefer the axe, I think. Spears are more effective than both. I'll get Catherine's sword if it spares us electron troop tactics. Everyone except Catherine whooped and clapped. Is that not rather ghoulish? She was killed with it. The mood soured instantly. Oh, you know, I think that is exactly why we should use it. Should her sword's last act be so grisly, we have a chance to wield it to celebrate her. I resisted the urge to point out that the sword's most recent acts were to slaughter a goat and scare me silly. That actually makes some sense to me. I agree. It's fitting. I'll go get it. Back in a moment. Catherine's mood had turned again. Nearly everyone else seemed convinced of this ridiculous idea. However, I think we'll be getting on. It was a lovely night, but I'm too old for all this. We need our beauty sleep, don't we, Marta? Waste a good wine. I'm sure we don't actually need to do this. Do what you like. Good night, everyone. They left. Margaret was huddled in conversation with Catherine again. They both looked quite serious, but Margaret was strumming a tune idly to cover whatever they were conversing about. That's smart. Margaret's so smart. I love Margaret. Normal. Finally, Eustace emerged from the shadows once more. She carried that terrible blade with her. When the nuns invested in her cask-breaking plan started cheering, she held it aloft. Even Catherine joined in. Her dark mood had once again evaporated. She had turned back into the Catherine I was used to seeing. Right. Who wants to go first? Let me take a swing. It should be Hedwig. Of course. That is a much better idea. Very fitting. Oh, no. I couldn't. Go, Hedwig. Eustace approached me and held the sword out as if it was the most natural thing in the world. The pommel towards me, the blade resting at her side, balanced flat on her palm. Now, be very careful. Grasp it firmly with both hands. Everyone was looking at me expectantly. I don't know. Hedwig! 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 Everyone began chanting in unison. Even Eustace. There was nothing else for it. I took the sword in my hands, and everyone cheered. How does it feel? It's much lighter than it looks. Oh, sword. I saw my reflection in the blade. It's an odd sensation. I suddenly felt very powerful. This song rules. Oops. I turned the blade over with a quick little flip. It felt so natural. What is that? What is this? Is that something? I'm going to bump up my screen brightness. It looks like Hebrew. Took a screenshot of that. If that doesn't get pointed out in the text, I'm going to analyze it. Like there. I hadn't even held the sword for a minute, and I already felt as if I were equipped to take on the world. I was surprised to discover that there was an engraving in Hebrew on the side of the blade near the crossguard. How odd, I thought. Well, I recognized the script. I could not read it. I didn't have long to muse over it, however. Step over here. Careful now. This cask, Sister Hedwig. I love to look at shit. Everybody else should stand back. Now, lift it up. I was not really listening. I knew what to do. With a speed that evidently surprised Adela, I swung the blade down into the top of the barrel in front of me. Not bad, but you must swing more confidently. Try. But I was already swinging the blade down again. The barrel gave way, and red sherry came bursting forth all. Everyone cheered. The wine was all over my wimple and frock. There was nothing I could do about that. I gave the broken barrel a few more gleeful hacks before Adela stayed my arm, laughing. Give someone else a turn. Who wants to go next? Yeah, get it. Yeah, she's going all in. Come on, Hedwig. Let out that frustration and anger in a blood sport. There are just enough casks for all of us to do one, I think. Everyone clamoured around. Adela held her hand out to me expectantly. And then everyone clapped. They did. The sword? Hedwig? Oh, yes, of course. Okay, here's something fun. Sword has some sort of effect on Hedwig, and it's probably a purely psychological holding a weapon for the first time, also this exact weapon was used to kill someone kind of effect. But what if it was like some sort of fun effect? I handed the sword back to her gingerly. I didn't want to let go. The crackling energy didn't subside, thankfully. Whoa, Adela took her turn next. Yeah! Swing, Adela! She began her assault on the cask in front of her, with a violent thrust into the dead center of the lid, as if she were attempting to pierce a wooden shield. The tip of her blade wedged itself between two of the planks, and she pressed forward with a slight twist. Ooh, crunch. The entire lid buckled and split apart immediately. Adela was covered head to toe by the red sherry. She giggled, then held the sword aloft, similar to the way Eustace had, and gave a mighty war cry. That is how it is done! You accident. Oh, yes, I remember you telling me about that. Listen, that's a fun time, though. I should get a sword. I've been saying this for a while. But the thing is I'm about to move internationally and then come back. Or, like, maybe. And a sword feels like an immigration problem. So I don't know when I'm in the position to buy a sword. Maybe I should just buy it and just let what happen may. Sword making workshop. We didn't get to go to the knife making workshop in New Zealand, so we should have. Let's do a sword making workshop. The sisters present all clapped for the expert swordswoman, and she gave a little bow and held the sword out to the next contestant. Hell yes, Catherine. Catherine stepped forward. The end of her cloak drifted atop a flood of wine that was spread rapidly outward from our position. I suppose tomorrow will be a laundry day. We might need to get new frocks. It's worth it. One by one, the rest of the sisters attacked their designated wine casks. Catherine opened with a horizontal swing that the rest of us instinctively ducked. She apologized and instead popped her cask with a wicked diagonal strike that crushed the angle where the lid and rim met. She hacked away at this opening until the lid splintered apart completely. Moira's turn took a moment to get going. It's a big fucking sword. Whereas I had been surprised at how light the sword felt, she clearly found it rather heavy. It was somewhat comical when she took the sword from Catherine, and nearly fell over when the taller women let go. That's a big height difference. I'm just going to enjoy their big height difference for a moment. She chopped away at the top of her barrel as if she was splitting firewood. It took some doing, but she got there eventually, and we all clapped and cheered as she gave us a slightly embarrassed bow. Yeah, Eustace! Eustace dispatched her cask with shocking efficiency, however. In 7 rhythmic strikes, left, right, top, thrust. What is it, the Konami code? She completely shattered the lid. She hit it 4 times than Adela, but both of them were easily the most practiced. Darcy held her sword by the blade when she stepped up, prompting all of us to rush forward to stop her. Also for Adela, who began arguing that this was a perfectly valid technique. You'll hurt yourself. I wrap my hands in my sleeves, it'll work. That's how I wrestle with my cat. I wrap my hands in my sleeve and then just let him attack my arm. I'm gonna miss doing that with him. A pommel strike is actually very efficient, especially against these barrels. Darcy is not a soldier. She's going to... Darcy gave the bung of the barrel a surprisingly swift bat with the rounded bottom of the sword handle, while the others were arguing. I will tell Tian. I have an entire section in my Magna Carta of playtime, and how to play fetch with him, what toys he likes, how to wrestle with him. Yeah. It's just like a 5-page document, and it's only getting bigger. I have so much information about my cat I have to preload her with. It popped free instantly, spraying everyone with sour-smelling sherry. Easy! Eustace gave her friend a withering look. Good work, Das. I told you! Margaret? It's your turn. Catherine had to call across the room to get Margaret's attention. I had not noticed that she had wandered so far afield. Margaret? Margaret did not answer. She was sitting on the bottom of the staircase back up to the cloister, her head buried in her arms. Perhaps she dozed off. It is rather late. She volunteered to ring the bell tomorrow. However, Margaret was not asleep. Oh, Margaret. She lifted her head up from the depths of her cloak and stared at us balefully with glistening eyes. I guess something about her posture was that she just curled up and got tired of the party. But she was actually curled up and hiding because she's crying. Oh, fuck you. Ugly medieval horse. Look at that thing. I wanted to say something to apologize, even though I had no idea what I would be apologizing for. Something about this impromptu car smashing ritual bothered her. although I had no idea what prompted a reaction as strong. Marta was closely connected to the wine, after all, and she had merely given us all a stern goodbye. Margaret looked to be in pieces, however. I felt awful. I did not get a chance to say anything, though. Catherine coaxed her friend away privately, and they disappeared up the staircase into the darkness, while the rest of us said awkward farewells. A long night, I think. they were all wine splattered. We're smashing all those a bit. Gosh. Disrespectful to Captain's memory, perhaps. I didn't intend it that way. Hopefully she understands that. It was a good idea, Sister Eustace. We climbed the stairs together, then turned back towards the cellars to admire our handiwork. Moira started giggling. Her superior's going to kill us. Let her try. That was the most spiritually satisfying thing I've done in ages. Yeah, it is important to be sad. Oh, Sister Flora. What about Flora? She did not get a chance to join us. It was her actions that inspired this whole exercise. We should find her. There's one cask of Catherine's awful sherry left, I bet. I suppose it's only fair. Good thinking. I'll check the clothes that are in the garden. Maybe she's just getting some fresh air. I will scour the dorms and kitchens. I'll make a round of the grounds. Hedwig? I'll search whatever is left. The chapel? Italy can cover the chapel. That's close to the kitchens. You should check the rest of the upstairs, maybe. The hallways and such. By my old cell. Exactly. Let's meet back here once we're finished looking. I did not... I should be giving Eustace a northern accent. First of all, they're in the north. So, Catherine probably also a northern accent. I can't do a northern English accent. I can't even do an Irish accent. I don't know what the hell is coming out of my mouth when I voice Moira, but like I don't even know where to begin with a northern accent. But just imagine Eustace has one. I did not adore this idea, but I wasn't about to argue with Eustace in front of Adela and Moira. We traipsed up the stairs and went our separate ways. Eustace was still carrying the sword with her, swinging it idly at her side as if it were any old thing. As I found myself alone in the dark passageways, I began to wish that I had a weapon as well. That hot rush of power holding that sword had rapidly dissolved in the cold night air. I walked down the hall towards the intersection I had seen Eustace's horrible ghost visage with caution. The wind was picking up. I could hear that big door rattling again in the distance. I thought about peeking outside, but there was no chance that Flora was out on the wall when it was this cold and windy. That's how I excused myself, anyway. In truth, I did not want to be startled by the door slamming again. Flora! I turned the corner away from the door. Flora! I could hear something strange underneath the wind. It was higher pitched and irregular in rhythm. It came from down the dark passageway to my cell. I braved a few steps forward to confirm it. I was sure of it. The sound got louder the further I walked. The hair on the back of my neck stood up straight. If Eustace was busy in the garden, then there was no way this could be a tired retread of her old jokes. It was an unearthly wail. It echoed around the whole hall, bouncing from wall to wall, pillar to pillar. I thought about the passageway Margaret had shown me. The demonic circle etched into the stone. The Barghest! What the hell is this thing? I could not bear it one moment longer. This is definitely her just thinking about shit, but like, I turned tail and sprinted out of the hole. I thought the point is that it's just like an apparition. Hold on. A ghost or goblin believed to portend misfortune and sometimes appearing in the shape of a large dog. Yeah, it's just like a thing that appears when something bad's going on. Whatever that noise was, I told myself, it couldn't have been her. No, Joy? Eustace was already waiting when I arrived back at the cellar staircase. I shook my head as I came to a stop. Nothing, I'm afraid. You are afraid. I couldn't find her either. It's too dark to see out there without a proper torch, and all I had was a little candle. Honestly, if you just... A little candle makes it worse to see in the night, because it prevents your eyes from adjusting, and it doesn't provide enough light to be useful. I love like stacking companions in Skyrim. Like not through mods, just through like brute forcing the game, where it like makes a certain number of people follow you for certain reasons, and so long as you don't like meet the requirement to finish them following you, you can just drag them around all of Skyrim. It rules. I doubt she's outside at all, to be honest. It's too damn cold. It is, isn't it? We stood in silence for a moment. I trust tonight gave you some catharsis. Oh, very much so. Good. I think we can call that the end of it. She looked down the stairs into the darkness. Goodbye, Catherine. I didn't know what to say. She had pivoted from slightly threatening to slightly forlorn so quickly I had no recourse. I think breaking the casks was a very sweet idea. Do you? That's good. I didn't take you for someone for impromptu ritual. No, but this felt right. It did, didn't it? I said whatever I could to steer the conversation away from where this started. I wanted Eustace to be satisfied that I would adhere to her request to stop searching. I did not want to have to lie about it again. Adela arrived next. She was alone as well. I could not find her. Me either. Moira was just behind Adela, jogging back to our meeting spot. Oh well, we tried. That's likely good enough. Agreed. I would have felt bad if we did not at least make an effort. I hope she's somewhere safe. This is a big abbey, and she's a crafty young woman. I am not worried. She is sulking. She probably does not want to be found. True. It's very late. We should call it a night. Flora will find her way to bed, I'm sure. The Superior is already going to have a conniption when she sees the state of the cellars. I dread to think what she'll do if we all sleep through service. Yes, we can't miss service. We all walked upstairs back to the dorms in silence. We said our goodnights in the dorm hall and retired to our separate rooms. For once, I fell asleep swiftly, but morning came far too soon. I think sleeping at all made things worse for me, truth be told. Hedwig is such a stickler for the nun actions. Like, she's got to go to service, she's got to say all of her, like, prayers of the hours, she's got to, you know, I don't know what nuns do. She's not doing her fucking chronicler job. That cracks me up every time. Every time we cut to the library, she's like, I didn't know what to say. It cracks me up. Have you ever had that experience? I can stay awake for quite a long time if I have to. But if I fall asleep, I need a proper full night of rest. She's so real for this. I groaned when I woke up. I didn't know how long I'd even managed to sleep for. Also, she was probably hungover too. I got dressed and stuck my head out into the hallway. My heart sank. There was no activity in the hall, and a few doors were ajar. I was late for service. I hurried down the stairs as quickly as I could. The rain clouds that had been looming last night had finally broken. I could see a dotted black line of nuns entering the chapel ahead of me. I thanked God that I wasn't too late. As I made my way inside, I sensed the mood was grim. I looked around at everyone. The sisters looked slightly haggard and paler than was usual. Nobody was speaking. I did not see Flora anywhere. My heart sank. Margaret was sitting near the front of the chapel, her head resting in closed fists. She had evidently gotten here first. I'm sorry, everyone. I volunteered to ring the bells this morning, but I forgot. She was staring straight ahead at something. Everyone looked so upset, I half expected to see a dead body lying on the altar as I got closer. However, Margaret was staring dead ahead at a crumpled pile of wooden wreckage sitting on the floor in front of her. The portative organ. Oh, Margaret. I was trying to fix it. There was this piece that Catherine and I would always take out for a laugh. I know you all know, and I thought to myself recently, this joke is wearing a bit thin. Maybe it's not the best time. I came back in here to pop the missing piece back in, and... crash. Ha 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 ha. Nobody spoke. Are you going to tell her? God, no. If one of you wants to sell me out, feel free. But I'm not going to get myself in trouble. The gathered sisters awkwardly took their seats in the pews. We waited for a while, listening to the sound of the rain. I was trying to do something nice, and then it fell. I can't complain, I suppose. The door finally swung open again. I turned around to see the bishop holding it open for the superior. She glowered as he strode forward. Soup time! Are you ready for your daily dose of soup? Each of her footsteps echoed with a terrible and heavy thud against the chapel floor. After what felt like hours, she stopped in the middle of the room to address the women sitting in the pews. Sister Flora is missing. If anyone would like to claim credit for hiding her away somewhere, I would ask that you speak up now. I will be just and fair. I understand that this would not be the first time a practical joke went too far. Nobody spoke. I assume the mess in the cellars has something to do with it. I'm offering clemency. Will nobody take responsibility for their actions? Very well. Should your consciences recover, you may reclaim some decency by confessing to me privately in my office after service. She looked around the chapel sternly. Everyone averted their gaze. With a sharp sigh, she moved forward toward the altar. Each footstep echoed terribly in my head. Oh, she's going to see the organ. I could see Margaret tensing up ahead of me. There was a pause. Oh, hell! Everyone jumped. The superior had seen the portative organ. She flew up the steps to the altar in her rage. Margaret! Catherine! Which one of you was it? Silence. Eustace! Who did it? I know it was one of you. The room was utterly airless. It had to be someone here. We don't have ghosts here, nor spirits, barguests, or any other devilish creatures. I know it had to be someone in this room. Who else could it have been? You all protect each other. Don't for 1 second think I cannot see it. I scarcely know this place anymore. You all hide every aspect of it from me. It matters not if it's a missing bread roll, or a piece of my portative organ, or a murdered sister. Superior, are you not feeling well? No, Sister Moira, I am not feeling well. My youngest charge is missing. I pray to God that she hasn't met the same fate as Sister Catherine. And do you know why I pray? Because I have a congregation of rats gnawing at my ankles. There is nothing you will allow me to do. I am supposed to be in charge. I am Mother Superior. But I understand who is really in control here. It is not me, it is all of you. Each and every one of you spend your days trying to find the cleverest little ways to defy my wishes and orders. Perhaps we should take a moment to calm ourselves. Perhaps try to put this instrument of yours back together. I'm sure this young sister is simply playing truant. The superior raised a silencing hand to the bishop, who looked dismayed. Is it very hard, living here? Is it so difficult not having to want for anything? Do you not have to throw yourselves at some awful man, or to beg for money on the street? This place gives you everything. I give you everything. But it's never enough. You all have the run of the place for almost every hour of the day, but the barest of responsibilities, the smallest courtesies, are too great an ask for you. Oh no, you could not possibly spend 30 miserable minutes listening to some liturgical music. You undoubtedly all have pressing plans today. I'm certain they're important, drinking yourselves into stupor in this Misericorde, perhaps. Or are you all waiting to dance around Flora's body trussed up like a maypole? I have turned a blind eye to all manner of vices in my tenure here. Do not pretend I am unaware. Many selfish sodomites, the lot of you. Uh-oh. This isn't good. She loomed over the altar, breathing raggedly. Her eyes darted between all of the women present, who squirmed uncomfortably and looked away. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. She must be so lonely. She's basically an anchoress in her own right. I just can't bear being treated this way any longer. Could any of you? How many of you could stand to live the way you all conspire to make me live? I took a peek into the cellars this morning. Broken barrels, wine all over the floor, it stunk to high heaven. I could deal with that on its own. I wouldn't stop you all from having your fun. But where is Flora? What happened, huh? Will no one come forward? Very well. She stepped down from the altar. The bishop made to follow her. He looked gravely concerned. The superior looked straight ahead as she strode defiantly out of the chapel. Service is concluded. Do whatever you like. Mabel. The bishop turned around as he reached the door. He shot an apologetic glance around the room, then bounded after the superior as they swung shut. Truly is what Zero Pussy does. We were left in the dark. She wants to be a manly, selfish sodomite too, and I don't blame her. We all do. Sorry. I was a bit preoccupied last night. Where is Flora? An uneasy feeling was starting to build in the room. We don't know. We looked for her last night after everyone left the cellar. We thought she should have a turn smashing the barrels with us. Don't you dare blame me. I wouldn't dream of it. I don't like this. Me either. If she left of her own accord, Flora is responsible for her own choices. She may be the youngest of us, but she is 19 years of age. Flora would have a family by now were she not here. Ugh! Don't remind me of that, Angela. This is why I thought you were pregnant. Responsibilities. She ran off after Marta hit her. Don't you dare blame me for this! I wouldn't dream of it. Thank you for setting me straight, Eustace. I merely assumed, as I was not there. Oh, you're really going to make this about your lack of invitation. As if you would have enjoyed it. That is not what we were discussing. No, but you thought you could sneak in a complaint or two because you're an annoying cunt. Quiet! Charity had stepped up to the altar. She looked rather commanding, and deadly serious. Listen to yourselves. There's only one thing that should be on anyone's mind right now. Finding Sister Flora. Aye? The question was met with an unanimous mumble of acknowledgement. Last night, it sounds like a few people poked around looking for her. But now all of us are here. No fighting now. We're all on the same side, aren't we? Let's split up and search this whole damn place for our Flora. At the very least, I want to be able to show the Superior we can take care of our own. Aye? Another approving murmur. What was that passage Catherine liked to quote at times like this? Latin. Facta est also est contentio inter eos, quisi eorum videretur es a major. Sorry, I can't speak Latin. I was taken aback. What on earth did Luke have to do with this? Nevertheless, I was impressed with the ease in which Flora recited the scripture. Ad illicitio. Yep, bunch of Latin. Everyone else murmured satis est along with her. That is enough. Lovely. Off we go then! We all filed out of the church. There was an odd energy about, a sense of purpose. I was not entirely sure what had just transpired. I was turning those words from Luke over and over in my head as we began spreading through the cloister. Yeah, can you translate for us, please, Hedvig? Why that passage? What did those words mean to these women? And what did they have to do with finding a missing girl? I was baffled, but I was at least relieved to be free from the confines of the chapel. Am I going to have to look this up? Facta est autem et competitio. Oh my god, this fucking Bible site is telling me I have to log in to read the Bible. It's the Bible! An argument broke out among disciples over which one of them should be regarded as the greatest. Oh, it's like that passage about the disciples bickering, and so that's why she quotes it when the sisters bicker. You know how Jesus loved paywalls? Yeah, famously huge fan of capitalism, Jesus Christ. He definitely loved to charge people to listen to him talk and to hear the scriptures. Jesus. I have a drink, my throat drying up. Okay. I decided to begin my search in the garden. Most of the others, it seemed, were headed towards the main building. I really did hope Flora was safe, but right now, I just wanted to be alone. I had quite enough group discussion for one morning. Even in the rain, the flowers were quite lovely. They bounced up and down as raindrops hit them. There was a faint, pleasant rustling all through the grounds. I walked up and down the hedgerows. I was not sure what to expect. Would Flora jump out from behind a bush? Was I likely to find her sulking in a bed of carrots? Well, they do grow a lot of carrots here. I began to feel quite guilty. I wasn't helping, I was taking a relaxing stroll amongst the flowers. Meow. Oh, Kitty! The kitty is back. Campy, who I'm pretty sure his full name is probably Champignon, as in mushroom. Yes, a little guy! He looks like my little guy. Campy had emerged from underneath the thicket in front of me. Oh. Seemingly unbothered by the rain, it sat in my path and leveled a curious stare my way. Cats love to level you with a curious stare. Last night I was sitting on the couch reading with my cat next to me, you know, the ideal setup for any evening. And this thing that I do that I stim with is when I'm reading, I like flip. Hold on, I'll just show you. Here, I have a book here. So I like run my thumb along the pages here and sort of like, okay, this is a fancy notebook, so it doesn't work, but I like flick the pages like this as I read. And I think Prince thought that was me purring, because when I stopped, he stopped purring and turned around and looked up at me, like, why'd you stop making the happy noise? He thought it was very cute. It was so cute. Go on. Shoo. I love that it comes with a little kitty sound effect. Meow. You'll catch colds in this weather. Do cats catch colds? Yes, they can get upper respiratory infections, and it's a serious problem in shelter environments because it can spread so easily. The cat flickered its tail back and forth and stared at me. It looked thoughtful. I felt like I was being sized up. I suppose I should thank you. Oh, he was sneezing. Cat sneezes are so cute. Like, most of the time it's just because they stuck their head in somewhere dusty and they're just sneezing. But sometimes they'll sneeze, like, a lot, and it's like, oh, I'm worried about you, but it's so cute. They're like, itchy, itchy, itchy. And when they shake their whole head when they sneeze. Aw, you took the blame for the ink bottle after all. Yes, I was losing my grip on things a bit, wasn't I? Talking to a cat. No, talking to a cat is the normal reaction to seeing a cat. What was I thinking? It seemed to understand me, however, because vermin share a secret language. Oh. It walked forward and rubbed itself against my ankles, disappearing under my robe for just a moment. Oh, don't touch me! I hopped to the side. The little creature trotted back to where it had been sitting before, only this time it didn't look at me. It turned its gaze up into the air and began to make unpleasant chittering sound. Oh, it spotted a birdie! I tilted my head up to see what it was looking at. I half expected to see those mysterious pennants again, but there was nothing. Only rain clouds and passing birds. Yeah, he's chattering at the birds! When I looked down, the cat was gone. I sighed and peered into the sky once more, just in case I'd missed whatever the little creature had seen. It's not a divine sign, Hedvig. It wants to hunt. There was nothing amidst the clouds. However, out of the corner of my eye, I saw something on the parapet overlooking the garden. Oh! Oh, the fucking apparition! I guess the ghost, the thing. There it was again, looking straight at me. I bolted back the way I'd come, through the bushes and the hedges. I hoped I could disappear into the flowers. When I stopped to catch my breath, I looked back at the building in the distance. It was gone. I was safe from whatever it was. The cat wants to catch Satan. Yeah. For the time being, anyway. Enjoy the violets while you can. It'll snow soon. Oh! Hello, Eustace. Has Flora been found? No. I just needed a break. I've been all around the grounds. Then I went to look in the library, but it's been locked since last night. No way Flora could be in there, thankfully. I was half expecting to find her scribbling rude drawings in your chronicles. I'm not worried about that. I doubt anyone would want to tamper with my writing. Eustace pantomimed a mock shiver. Horrible. I always worry about that. Hours of work undone. Right. Well, a break can do a lot of good. You're annoyed that Hedvig doesn't run straight towards Satan? Come on, man. Oh. She's a 15th century nun. Like, there was never any chance of her, like, engaging with it. Yeah, I also want to see what's up. Yeah, you just want to know. I think perhaps we'll think of somewhere else to look. We stood and admired the flowers together.
I've been meaning to ask you, how are you taking to chronicling? I can't help but notice that you still tend to finish quite early.
Oh, it's been no problem. I'm sure I'll come into my own once I've had a little more time practicing the fundamentals.
Mm. As long as nothing's bothering you. I know we made up on the cart ride, but
Oh, no, no, not at all. I haven't given our little spat a second thought.
well, that's good. I really am sorry about all that.
Her expression stayed as inscrutable as ever. There's no need. Sister Eustace, I have been sad about something else.
Flora will turn up.
No, it's not that. I'm afraid Sister Catherine II, she has not left my thoughts, even though I was not party to the the event.
Mm.
Forgive me if I'm going in circles here, but I've still been hearing so much about her, but at the same time, very little, if that makes any sort of sense.
It does. Although it doesn't surprise me. You weren't here. I mean, you weren't here, but you weren't. You don't really understand what she meant to us. You should be glad of that. Keep it that way. Hedwig, you must be exceedingly careful.
This isn't the first time you've cautioned me. What do you really mean?
I don't think I need to say more.
I'm afraid you must. Eustace gave me a piercing look for a few moments, but then relented with a small sigh. Listen, I don't intend to be rude about it.
You and I are very similar in some regards.
And literally autism to autism communication, but like the negative version where it doesn't click. Were you anchored at some point?
No. But we both bristle easily at misunderstanding, don't we?
I cannot disagree.
Conversation is difficult. I understand. I can sense the questions you're dancing around while talking to me, hoping that I'll answer without you asking. I just don't want you to wander into a situation you can't handle with someone else here. I can't fault your curiosity, but you must understand that losing the Catherine II was shocking, in many ways, for many people, for many reasons. Reasons that someone not deeply embedded in Lindbergh could never understand.
And you're worried I'll upset someone?
More or less. I'm only trying to help you. I keep finding you swinging sticks around wasps' nests.
Do I come across that way? A little girl swinging a toy sword around?
Yes. The Superior meant well, but she had a bit too much faith in her own clever idea, I think. I was able to figure out what you were up to. Someone else might catch up.
How can I not ask after Catherine? She is nowhere, but she's everywhere. She has been brought up to me several times without me asking. She's inescapable. Even if I wasn't charged to investigate her death, I would have heard about her, and I would have been curious. I never even saw her body. I have no idea what she looks like. But nonetheless, everyone here has painted a picture of her in my mind.
Listen, if it helps, you can just ask me.
Anything you'd like.
You don't have to try and bait it out of me.
What happened? The day it all happened.
Well, they're having this conversation in the pouring rain. I just want to point out that I know like those big habits and veils are like really heavy wool. So it's not like, you know, how standing in the rain in a t-shirt would feel, but it cannot be good. Eustace has big ass glasses on too. She's got to be hating that. But finally, we have an account of the final day. I had gotten up early to do some work in the library. Sister Charity found the body on her morning walk. She was beside herself. Catherine's body was in the middle of the cloister. She'd been beheaded, although later we discovered that wasn't her only wound. Evidently there was a struggle between her and her attacker. Of course, we didn't have time to sit around and speculate. Marta comforted Charity while the rest of us scrambled around looking for the killer. I checked upstairs in the Misericorde library. It is easier to talk when you can't see right sometimes. But for me personally, like whenever there's anything on my glasses at all, it's immediately like I have to drop everything and solve this. I checked upstairs in the Misericorde library. I reasoned that those might be good hiding places. I remember Darcy checked the dormitories. It was a day like any other. It felt strange, as if we were all still working as normal, off doing our separate tasks. It was still just a morning at the Abbey. When I couldn't find anyone in the library, I went downstairs to the Superior's office. Apparently, I was the first to think of letting her know. Okay, you don't need to read me that hard and correctly. Goddamn. She and Angela were still preparing for the morning's liturgy, but as soon as I told her what was happening, she joined the search. Eventually, we ran out of places to look that weren't already covered. I remember passing a dealer coming up from the cellars, shaking her head. The Superior, Moira, and I attended to the body, while the search continued throughout the grounds. We took Catherine's body into the chapel and laid her under the altar and covered her with a blanket until we could arrange a burial. It is probably for the best that Moira and I handled it. Ah, goddammit, I got a robot. Hold on, let me take care of this. How do I do this? How do I get rid of this fucking thing? I've like blocked them, but like I don't know how to use fucking Twitch. Or whatever, they're blocked, so just ignore that. Oh well. I don't know how to delete that message. I think the two of us have the strongest constitutions out of anyone here. And yeah, Moira is basically like a medical practitioner. Eventually, Sister Angela hauled a young man in on his ear, who I vaguely recognized as being our delivery boy. She said that she'd found him hiding in the east grounds. I stressed that it was normal for him to be here during the mornings and that the commotion could have just scared him, and then Darcy wandered in holding his traveling cloak. It was covered in blood. She said that she had seen it in his cart. And that was that. The Superior and Moira dragged the fellow to the hospitalum, and here we are with a new chronicler. They took him straight to the hospitalum? Immediately. Everyone looked ready to tear him to pieces. You should have heard what some of the sisters were shouting as the Superior left. It just doesn't seem right, although I suppose it was better to lock him away in the dungeon than leave him at everyone's mercy. I spoke to him, you know, in the hospitalum. I know he could be a simple liar, but he pleaded so earnestly. It felt so strange. It doesn't feel right to keep him there. Why does the hospitalum have a dungeon? Eustace's eyes narrowed. She stepped towards me without warning, pushing me into the flower bush uncomfortably. Hedwig, listen to me very closely. I thought I had made it clear, but apparently I'm not getting through. Be careful. She had me by the scuff of my robe, and even though she was slightly shorter than me, I felt terribly threatened. Why can't you trust me? I am doing everything in my power to help you. Flora wasn't careful, and look where we are now. I do not want to see anyone else get hurt. I do not want to see you fall victim to your own meddling. I need you to stay out of this. I don't know what you're talking about. Eustace, stay out of it! Leave it alone! Her words seemed to echo around the garden for a few moments. Her demand even scared some of the birds away. Finally, she stepped off. She brushed off her robe, still looking at me intensely. You have to trust me. Whatever the Superior is putting you up to, you need to stop it. Please don't misunderstand me, Hedwig. I am on your side. Do you believe James killed her? Hedwig, do you believe it? No. Then surely you understand that I can't just... I can sympathize, but you need to let it go. Are you trying to find the truth as well? Maybe we could work together. The most helpful thing you can do right now is nothing at all. So you're just going to let him take the blame? You'd let Catherine die in vain? You are treading on dangerous ground. Do you think me uncaring? Do you think this is easy? I think Catherine would have wanted justice to be done. You don't know a fucking thing about Sister Catherine. Nothing. So don't pretend you know anything about what she would have wanted, or what justice for her would look like. I know plenty. I know she was good at chess. I know she was a sharp reader. I know she had a keen sense for what is and isn't fair. I heard about her letters to France and her thoughts on money. I know she fancied herself a warrior and tried to teach you all how to fight. I know she wanted everyone to try new things and to think about what they could do with their time on God's earth. And I know she liked plays. All of that is correct. But it's like you said before. You know so much, but altogether, very, very little. Well then, what am I missing? I know that she's someone who wouldn't just be left in the lurch by her friends. I know people loved her. Surely that's enough. That is only half of it. Hedwig, think about it. Everyone here loved her. Is that it? Has everyone been sharing stories about how wonderful she is? Of course. And you don't believe James killed her? You don't believe it was some random murderer? Neither do you. And that's just it. Hedwig, if that man didn't kill her, and someone here did. Not a ghost, not a bear. One of the sisters here. And that means that the things people loved about her, that's only half the story. You're saying someone is lying to me? Jules, right on time. You will never find an answer because you will never fully grasp what her relationships here were like. I just want the truth. For her sake. Eustace began to chuckle and then laugh heartily. I was stunned. This is in very poor taste. I'm not laughing at you, What's gotten into you? How could I possibly convey everything I know that you don't? The idea that you'd understand is just... Oh, yes. You're very proud of how intelligent you are, aren't you? The very thought of explaining what I know to someone who wasn't there. You didn't see her lying there. You can't possibly know. Eustace? She was doubled over laughing now. It was a disturbing sight, to say the least, but it was her words that truly got under my skin. You didn't see your friend covered in blood. What would you know about it? All you've ever done is read books. All you ever do is speculate. You're poking around in stories you have no stake in. Events you weren't there for. Isn't that right? Are you quite alright? You don't even know what she looked like. I saw her with my own eyes. Her head and her hands. Blood all over the place. I cleaned it all up. I was her dearest confidant, and I couldn't stop it. And you think you could do better? I didn't mean to. I didn't know what to do. I tried my best to assume a comforting stance, some sort of embrace, although my arms never made it around Eustace's body. She jerked her head back and began to dry heave between her humorless, mechanical laughs. I carried her by her legs with Moira, like two ale wenches carrying a drunk at home. Her head kept falling off. Can you imagine it? Your friend's severed head rolling off her chest, bouncing on the stone, over and over, down the chapel's front stairs. Stop it. You've made your point. And you know what? For as brave a face as I put on, as stoic as I have to stay, even now I could not shake the feeling that even through her dead eyes, she was looking straight at me. Stop! How perfectly horrible it all was. Just the idea is devastating. Is it? Well, I saw it. I touched it. I was there. Her hollow laughs had given way to bitter, dry sobs. I tried to pat her on the back, or something of the sort, anything that might comfort her, but she stood up straight as soon as I touched her, brushing me away. Promise me you will stay out of it. Please. Eustace. This mess is too much for me to bear, and I do understand the extent of it all. I was present for the whole affair, and I can't bring myself to do anything about it. I don't know who could be watching. I don't know what else might happen. Maybe that's why I can help. Why I should help. Eustace shook her head. No, there's nothing you can do. Nothing? You don't know how much progress I've already made. It can't be much if you're still standing here. What's that supposed to mean? Whatever sort of conspiracy is playing out here, it would have to be all-consuming. I knew the instant the Superior announced you'd be joining us that it must have something to do with Catherine. It was that obvious to me. I know that I'm being watched. I've seen Someone. Perhaps more than one person, I can't know for certain. Figures in the shadows. That's always been me. My stupid practical joke. I did that to scare you off. But it didn't work, clearly. Maybe some of them. But I know it hasn't always been you. How? How could you possibly convince yourself of such a ridiculous... Because I just saw them. She suddenly went very pale. You. On the top of the wall. Not a quarter of an hour ago. Unless you can be in two places at once. It couldn't possibly have been you. Eustace wiped her face with her sleeve. Maybe that was someone else I put it up to it to scare you. Maybe this is all another trick of mine. I do not believe that it is. Then you should take my warnings even more seriously. Are there ghosts here? Devils? I don't know. But I know there is some malevolence at work in this place that is real. It is hurting people, killing them, and I am trying to help you stay out of its gaze. Your concern is noted. I know it is a dark force at work in this place. It killed Catherine, and it's taken Flora. On that we can agree. But I'm not just doing this for the Superior. If Flora never showed her face here again, how would you feel? If you have any decency, you must feel wretched just imagining it. I feel that way without Catherine, and I never met her. All I have is one of her books and some of your stories. So I know you must feel worse than I do. I'm scared witless by the shadow I worry is creeping in the shadows, but it would be worse to ignore it. And I'm not going to let it stop me. Not them, nor you. I will not let the devil win. I held no blade in my hands, but at that moment I felt like I could have taken on an army by myself. I breezed past the dumbfounded Eustace back towards the Abbey. I put her behind me and walked as fast as I could. I could hear shouting behind me as I put distance between us. Eustace, Angela, the Superior, they were all making demands of me. But I served one, and one alone. Hedwig, leave it be! Leave it alone! Hedwig, listen to me! What's going on? What just happened? The search continued well into the evening. As darkness fell, the weather turned foul. It was pouring now, and the stone walls rumbled as rolling thunder shook the mountain itself. We had all gathered in the chapel again. From a quick glance around the room, I gathered that everyone had returned empty-handed. Charity took the altar again, looking grim. No joy. That is rather worrying. Moira's still covered in the sherry. We've looked everywhere. I explored places I had never been before. Everyone had put in a lot of work, it seemed. There had been no time to relax or get changed. Some of our frocks were still covered in wine. It would have been motivating had the situation been slightly less grim. The determination I felt after my conversation with Eustace was being tested. I wanted to blurt out that I had a good idea where Flora might be. We could all walk down that hallway together. Surely there was nothing so frightening down there that nearly a dozen women could not face. But if someone here were responsible for some grand plan that I did not understand, would I just be putting Flora in more danger? Would I be placing myself in harm's way? Appearing too observant, too clever? I could make myself the next target if I spoke up now. I tried not to think about which of these two arguments swayed me more. Stressing over my plan was putting my stomach in knots. I hoped someone else might suggest what I could not, but that was never going to happen. My cell was not and had never been on anyone's mind. My cell had never been in any of these women's hearts. As I looked around the room, I noticed that Marta was standing off to the side of the chapel alone. She looked gaunt and weak. I had been consistently surprised by her vigor up until now, but for the first time she looked her age. Well, is there anywhere that has not been scoured? The cellars, the croft? Those were my first ideas. I see. And I know Adela looked in the same places after I did. I think that all of us may have individually checked everywhere, one after the other. We've all doubled up. I do not doubt that people have put their backs into it. Oh, I am worried. I really hope she's safe. If only we had looked a little harder last night. It's not your fault. Missing for one night, that's just acting out. Missing for 2 nights. We have done everything we can today, I'm afraid. I think we all need to rest and try again tomorrow. My feet are killing me. No, we have to keep looking. I understand how seriously we're all taking this, but we should take a breather. A night's sleep is what we all need right now. We'll expand out beyond the grounds tomorrow, I think. I don't need any of you falling asleep and rolling down the hill. Flora missing is quite enough, thank you. Everyone seemed to agree, albeit reluctantly. When I left Eustace in the garden, a plan had formed in my mind. I had a sneaking suspicion where Flora was, but I dared not share it with the rest of the sisters. There was a place I was certain nobody had checked. A place I knew even Margaret had likely avoided, even if she had considered it. The thought terrified me, but I knew I had to check. For Flora's sake. We all fired out of the chapel back towards the dorms through the storm. I really hope she isn't out in the river. If she is, I would wager she is safe. She is young and resourceful. Remember when Catherine taught us all how to make fires? Ah, I do. You're right, she's probably having a more comfortable night than us. Adela rubbed Moira's shoulder reassuringly, then broke off to go talk to Angela. Should someone tell the superior what we did today? I wouldn't. I went to try to talk to her earlier, and I could hear her sobbing, even through that thick door of hers. I imagine she's been getting shouted at by the bishop all day. I don't think we should talk to her till we have good news. Oh dear. Oh dear. This is so tense. Oh my god. The moment I sat down on my bed, I had the sinking feeling that I was not going to be able to sleep before I got a chance to test my theory. I could just sense it. No, my bones told me. I sighed and rolled onto my back, fully dressed. I stared at the ceiling for a while. The thick stone walls gave us a great deal of privacy, and I had to strain to hear the slightest indication that the others were getting ready for bed. I thought about cracking open the copy of Medea that Catherine had written for me, but I remembered the subject matter and decided now was not the right time. I said a little prayer, asking for some guidance. No wisdom came to me, but then I sheepishly remembered that I had been granted an entire vision not long ago. As always, I was asking for far too much and doing far too little. For at least an hour, I stewed in my own thoughts. I tossed and turned, trying to find a position in my bed, but didn't get uncomfortable after a few minutes. I scratched itches that weren't really there, and attempted to fluff my pillow into a shape that would grant me sleep the instant my head touched it. I just started getting comfortable, I swear, when I heard a strange sound carrying on outside my door. I hopped out of bed and stepped out into the hall. It was almost pitch black out here, save for the embers pulsing in the fireplace. Nobody else, it seemed, was bothered enough by the noise to poke their head out like I had. I sighed. I hoped dimly that it had been Flora returning to her dorm. I retrieved and lit a candle from the mantelpiece. There was no use torturing myself in bed any longer. Now, which room was Flora's? I knew Catherine's room was next to mine, and had the squeaking door. I remembered Moira's room had inky paw prints leading out of it, next to Catherine's. Darcy's was on the very end of my row, closest to the hearth. I chanced a door I couldn't place. I felt so nosy, but if I could spare myself a horrid adventure into that hall. Ever so gently, I pushed the unfamiliar door with my finger. I realized this was not a particularly wise idea. The door swung inwards. Not only was it rude, it was conspicuous. I pushed this door in just a little more before thinking better of it. Just before I relented, however, I caught something odd. I could hear at least 2 people breathing on the other side of this door. Oh! They must have been discussing what else to look for Flora, I reasoned, gone late into the night out of concern. Now you know they're fucking! Perhaps, a darker voice in the back of my head suggested they'd been scheming on what cruelties to enact on her next. No, it's neither of those things. Just then I heard a startling sound. My god, that is startling. What is it, a scream? It had come from far away, but even so, it was blood-curdling. I scampered out of the dormitories and onto the landing. I did my best to steel myself. If I only had the thought to demand Eustace lend me the sword when I had found the courage to stand up to her in the garden. The pricket would have to do. I heard it again. This time it was mixed with that same hair-raising whine I had heard in my cell's hallway. My heart stopped. That was definitely a woman yelling. Screaming? I panicked. Was I too late? I had not told any of the others about my theory. Flora was hiding in my old cell. None of them could know. If Flora was a target of someone's dark machinations the way Catherine had been, I had to be the one to find her. I picked up my pace and jogged towards the dark hallway crossing. The huge door was rattling in the wind again, but that wasn't the source of the sound I was chasing. It was definitely coming from the darkest hall, the one my cell was in, the one that evil sign was in. I froze for a moment, unsure what to do. The pride I had felt deducing the one place nobody would have thought to check had been enough to make me forget about that. The pricket's spike could defend me in a pinch if I were face to face with Flora's human attacker, but if it was some devil, summoned by that magic circle, could I go down there alone? Should I rouse the superior? Did I have time to rouse anyone? There was that horrible wail again. It gave me my answer. However small, however vulnerable, however powerless I felt, I knew that there was no time to double back. Demonic sigils be damned. I was a woman of faith. I could withstand whatever it summoned. I sprinted down the hall into the darkness. My candle blew out almost instantly, but I didn't have time to care. We're going to take a quick break here, just so I can eat something and have a drink or whatever. We'll be back in about 10, 15 minutes. Okay, see ya. Oh my god, the game just crashed. Shit. Okay. Well, good news, it's a visual novel. So one, it almost definitely auto-saved. And two, even if it didn't, we can just hold down the spacebar and zoom right through everything. Whoops. Auto-saves. Yeah, see, there we go. Yeah, we're back in Danger Corridor. It's fine. Everything's okay. I got my muffin. It's okay. Speed none. Absolutely. Okay. I knew there was no time to double back. Demonic sigils be damned. I was a woman of faith. I could withstand whatever it summoned. I sprinted down the hall into the darkness. My candle blew out almost instantly, but I didn't have time to care. I ripped the wax off the pricket to expose the sharp point. It wasn't much, but this would have to serve as my sword for now. This is like the second time they've brought up using a candle pricket as a weapon. I rushed headlong towards the terrible sound, clutching the candle pricket with both hands as if I were wielding a mighty claymore. A face rushed out of the darkness. Is that Flora? Henry! Run! It all happened too quickly for me to register that I had been correct. Flora blew past me, nearly knocking me over. I did not have time to ask what was happening. I could hear the terrifying stomp of those boots echoing throughout the halls. We sprinted through the black hall to the dim light ahead of us and turned towards the giant rattling door. Flora bolted straight at it, past the hallway that would take us back towards the dorms. Where are you going? Away from here? I was about to break left for the dormitories, but then I saw exactly why Flora had avoided that path. I caught a glimpse of evil eyes and felt the dull thud of metal boots against the floor close by. Flora's pursuer had navigated to cut us off. I screamed and sprinted as fast as I could after Flora. I'm going to turn up the brightness as much as I can. I want to see, like, if there's hidden shapes in here. We made it to the door. I didn't even want to think about how close our pursuer was. They really are doing it on speedrun. But where were you? What's happening? Help me open this! No! She was pushing against the opposing door with all her might, but it wouldn't budge. I threw my meager weight against the edge of it to try and help, but it was so heavy I felt I might as well have been pushing against a stone wall. The wind was pressing it shut, and two small women whose shoes were slipping over the flagstone floor weren't doing much to combat it. My fingers were in danger of being caught in the jam every time the door buckled, but I kept pushing. I turned my head and caught a glimpse of the monster bearing down on us. Ah, it's got the weird face. It was as tall and terrible as I remembered, but this time it was enveloped in a cloud of smoke. Embers crackled around its soulless eyes. There was no oiled sword this time. This monster brought the very fires of hell with it. Eustace, this isn't funny. Even though I knew it couldn't be her, I pleaded just in case. I still had a dim hope this was just another prank. Eustace had been telling the truth after all. But the creature was unmoved. Oh, what's happening? Oh, okay. Just the game lagging. But it was like lagging at such a critical moment. I was like, something's happening. The giant oaken door finally swung open, just enough for me to slip through. I turned to try and yank Flora out with me, grabbing a handful of whatever cloth I could find as I made it outside. But the door caught her foot as I pulled her through. Help! I held onto her free hand with both of mine. She yelped, and I could tell that the monster on the other side of the threshold had grabbed onto her. Don't let go! I won't! I won't! Her face contorted and twisted as the door squeezed her ankle. At the very least, it was doing enough to keep the demon from pulling her away from me. Had it not been for that massive slab of wood, I doubt I would have been able to help at all. Henry! The wind let up for a moment, and the sudden lack of force set us both off balance as the weight of the door lifted. We fell down, and the door swung open just far enough for me to see that our attacker had let go of Flora as well. She was scrambling towards me on all fours, but the beast lurched forward to snatch her again. I held my hands out against to hold onto the poor girl's arms. Her fingers gripped my frock, and I held her wrist as tightly as I could, but I knew I could not combat this monster alone. The wind suddenly picked up again, and just as both of us got hold of Flora, the door slammed shut again with a sickening crunch. I had managed to pull Flora clear of the beast's lunge, but I hadn't been fast enough to keep her leg from being crushed by the door. She wailed as I attempted to pull her free. I couldn't manage it, and I was terrified that the door would pull her broken leg right off if I yanked any harder. Pull! Pull! I can't! Is it still holding on to you? I don't know. I can't feel anything. She was sobbing and screaming. I planted my feet against the wall and pulled her towards me. By some miracle, the wind let up just enough for the door to loosen its grip on Flora's leg. We tumbled backwards into a heap. My head hit the floor with a crack, and for a moment my vision faded. My eyes slowly regained focus. I looked up into the threshold. The twisted creature was looming over us. I closed my eyes once more and braced myself for the end, and hoped despite everything that I would see heaven. But death never came. When I opened my eyes, the monster was gone. The door swung shut again, slower this time. The wind was still blowing, but it had died down just a little. Flora wasn't moving. I shook her gently in an attempt to rouse her. There. I think it's gone. She did not answer. I held onto her tight and stared up into the night sky. What a mess I had made of everything. Raindrops pelted my face. I knew I had to move, but I was wholly leaden. The events of the past few weeks and their brutal dismantling of my steady faith were weighing me down. I scarcely recognized myself, and I actively tried to reject the situation I found myself in. The pain in the back of my head was getting unbearable. I squeezed my eyes shut. I am dreaming, I remember thinking. This is not real. Those cards even told me. No, I could not consider pagan frivolities. I was a faithful anchoress. I was simply having a long, horrible nightmare. Another vision. When you open your eyes again, I told myself, you will be home. You'll be back in your cell, dry and warm, your oath intact. And maybe you'll be able to try it all over again. I had no such luck. Oh my god, that's where Volume 1 ends? Oh my god! Dude, is Flora gonna be okay? She got her leg minced. Yeah, Volume 2 is in production. So, like, there's gonna be more, but there isn't more right now. So... But Flora also saw that thing, right? Like, she witnessed the monster. It grabbed her. She could feel it holding her. So she's like a witness to that existing, but is she going to be okay? Is she going to be able to, say anything ever again? Because she got her leg crushed, and they're lying in like the mud and the rain, and they've got like 15th century medical care. Like, this could kill Flora, She could get like leg sepsis or demon sepsis. I don't know. Hold on, Frenjamin Benklin. That took me right out of all my theory crafting. They might have to amputate it, yeah. My theory, I said this like I have just one theory. I have so many crazy theories. Aside from like Catherine is the mastermind somehow theory, maybe Soup did it. She was trying to regain control over the Abbey by taking out like the most dominant personality. And that's part of why she was having her breakdown, is because even with Catherine gone, still nobody trusted her. But this is really where it ends so far. Like, come on. Oh, oh, ZC did take some photos. I hope they did have like a fun trip where they got to take some pictures of like UK castles or whatever. Or just like some fun nature walks or whatever. Cliffhanger shit for real. I'm like hanging around for a post-credit scene. I demand more. If I wouldn't let it hang in here. God, and like, no matter what happens to Flora, even if she ends up being like, okay, the next, volume two, Hedwig is going to be so weighed down by the guilt of the fact that on the first night she did not check her own cell for Flora. Because if she had gone there, then maybe all this could have been avoided. Or I don't know, maybe they would have been locked in the cell and the monster would have gotten them. But she's going to be like thinking about that so much. I love people who make stock images. They really hold the internet up with their bare hands. Like stock images and sounds and stuff. Flora Mastermind. Oh, we got the post-credit scene! Oh my god, what's gonna happen? It is growing rather late, isn't it? This is like next year Hedwig, who has been narrating this whole thing to us. I apologize, but I think I will leave my story there for tonight. I do not cover anything close to what I consider to the full story. Yeah, but it is a rather exciting place to leave things, is it not? Even if you know what happens, there's still a sense of, oh, I don't know. I felt something recalling these misadventures, even though I had lived them. Do you know how things turned out? No! Tell me! No, no, don't tell me who you are. I am I'm getting some enjoyment out of imagining telling this story to an impartial audience. Okay, so us, the audience, is a character somehow. Please don't be frustrated with me for stopping here, with my investigation just barely started. Hee hee. Hee hee! What do you mean, hee hee? I promise you that all of these details are important. I may not have realized it at the time. In fact, I only just noticed the importance of some things after speaking them aloud to you. Great! So really, I must thank you. May I confide something in you? This is the first time that I feel like I understand the job of a chronicler. Or rather, I finally have something worth chronicling. And someone to tell those chronicles to. It's a shame that it took so long for me to feel inspired, and that these are such awful events. But I suppose that the worst events are the ones that need the best records. Would you agree? Yeah, yeah. In that spirit, I can offer you some of my notes. I believe I have some from the appropriate time I can share with you. Here. They aren't much, but you can peruse these while I prepare for our next meeting. Anyway, I must rest. We can continue this soon. Thank you for listening to me prattle on and on. I'll be ready to share more before you know it. Do you mean notes? You get notes?
Oh, your extra is sick. Oh yeah, we can. Oh, maybe I can go chapter by chapter. Kitty, it's a kitty cat. What voice do I do here? Oh, steady on. This never happened, did it? Yeah. I. Is this heavy? I'd say it was my mistake, but it wasn't really. I might have let it slip on purpose. She hates it when I fiddle with her hobbies. Can you believe that? It's a bit rude not to share, especially with dear, close friends. You've been ruder to hide from friends, if you ask me. But we're due for a reunion, I think. All thanks to you. Don't look so nervous. You've helped me, and I'm a very generous woman. I can tell you like to read. At least I hope you do if you made it this far. How about a little more? I think you'll find this interesting. I found it lying around somewhere or other. I don't know if it's entirely accurate, but what is? Huh? What is happening? Ma'am, I would really appreciate it if we could avoid causing a scene. I bought this ticket. This is some bullshit. Ma'am, please. I ain't stopping you from getting on the plane. I'm just warning you that you may need to remove your piercings to get through security. What is happening? Why? Are they going to reflect off the rearview mirror? Are they going to mess with the radar? Do they look explosive or something? Sweetie, can you not say the X word so loud? You're making the other people in line nervous. Sorry, which word? Explosive? A few of the other clerks next to the woman I was speaking to glanced over, eyebrows raised. I was getting a kick out of making these people squirm, I gotta admit. It was beyond bullshit that I was being told to remove my piercings just to go through airport security. Yes, stop saying it so loud, or at all. I don't know what voices to be doing. I don't know what's happening. Not to mention your jacket. After typing hastily into the terminal for a few more seconds, the woman finally handed back my passport. I got through my jacket. Got through airport security wearing my battle jacket once. It was fine. I just had to take it off and put it in a tub for the X-ray. My ticket sputtered out of a loud machine, and I snatched it before she had a chance to take it. Have a pleasant flight. I do apologize if I caused any offense by commenting on your jewelry and stuff. Something tells me you don't warn everyone about the metal detector. Just trying to be helpful, ma'am. I rolled my eyes and stepped away. It was a good thing I got to the airport early. I was hungry as fuck. I heaved my backpack onto my shoulders and set off towards my terminal. I figured I'd at least have time to grab a snack before I got on the plane. There were a decent amount of folks in line to get through the detector. The line moved quick, so when I got to the security guy, he sort of gave me this oh great look. All metal objects in the bin with your bag, please. I rolled my eyes and started dechroming myself. Started bracelets off, nose ring off, earrings out, vest off, more studs. Now why the hell would you wear all that to the airport? Man, shut up. The guy raised his eyebrows and opened his mouth to say something. He quickly stopped when he saw me lean over to rest one arm against the X-ray machine next to the metal detector and reach down to my leg. Ah. I probably should have opted for one of the wheelchairs outside the terminal to get around the airport, but fuck it. I had a lot of energy ahead of this trip and I wanted to travel light. I ducked my leg into the bin. Flora! It's Flora! She had her leg amputated! But she's in an airport? Put the rest of my shit and hop towards the guard. I'm gonna do a little spin thing through it. The guy stepped back a bit to let me put one arm through the metal detector, then jumped through it to rest both arms against the conveyor belt that fed out the X-ray machine. Slick! A few people waiting in line behind me clapped. I rolled my eyes. My bag and bits came through across the belt. It took a second to put myself back together, and to thank God that none of my other piercings had set the machine off. When I was putting my jacket back on, the guard commented on my back patch. I don't know if I'd wear that to the airport. Gotta do something about it? He laughed. Easy, easy. You're here. He held his hand up in the air. I'm way down here. Where are you flying? UK. Oh yeah, you're gonna need to come way down from up there. That's a long flight. What's it to you? He was waving more people through as I put my studs and rings back on. Nothing at all. I just don't seeing people fly mad. Not sure that's your jurisdiction, cop. I'm a cop? You think you're not a cop? What a real boring beat for a cop. Got a badge and everything. It's a private security gig, man. So you're like a mall cop. Man, I wish. They got to walk more, I think. Yeah, well, still a cop. How many of those doodads and piercings do you have anyway? More than you'll ever see. Ma'am, I promise you I'm not bringing the hostility to this conversation that you are perceiving. Sorry. It's just, do I? Decided not to grin at this guy, profession aside. Cop. Folks were passing by and taking their bags as the guard waved them through. What's your name? Alex. Is that real or is that just what you tell cops? No, that's real. I don't tell cops anything. See, that's good. We are opening a dialogue. Not real cops. Ouch. No, see, that's good. Damn it, I feel like Jimmy Carter. We're building a real framework for peace here. Man, fuck off with that. Shoot, I've got to get you back up again after all that. Look, I don't know what any of the political shit means. I just hear the news in the break room sometimes. It is what it is, I guess. I finally finished getting my shit together and turned away from the conversation to head towards the terminal. Have a good flight now, ma'am. Uh-huh. Alex. Look, I don't have time right now, but if I ever see you again, I'm going to recommend you some books to explain some stuff, alright? I whispered as soon as the words spilled out. It sounded cooler in my head. How? I don't know, but I swear it did. Okay then, looking forward to it. Weirdo. Even with all those distractions, I'd ended up with some time before my flight. I figured I'd grab a burger or something, go over my itinerary, etc., etc. Fast food place was pretty busy, but the line moved quick enough, and I turned out a nice bag of garbage to fuel me through an international flight. There weren't any free tables, but there was an empty bar stool near the front of the place, at the long table where all the single travellers were eating. Or at least it would have been empty if there wasn't a handbag on it. You good if I sit here? Of course! Weird lady. My stool was in the corner next to the wall. My neighbour was a preppy-looking woman wearing a purple knitted turtleneck. She had a pair of those big hoop earrings, bright red lipstick stick on nails, bangs that covered her eyes. Not really my scene, but fuck it, I wasn't going to eat standing up. She lifted the bag up onto the table and drummed her fingers against the seat. The red pleather was faded and cracked, and when I got up close I could see that the bar stools and table were covered in rude graffiti. Thanks. My pleasure, darling. Where are you headed? Burger Town. She chuckled as I unwrapped my food. Didn't know they had an airport there. England. Oh, now that's funny. Me as well. Gate 17. The 3 o'clock. That's the one. Small world. You going home, or did my accent give it away? She definitely played it up a little for that response. Good to know it's back to normal then. I could have passed for a real valley girl before I got to the terminal. I know, is this someone else, or like, what's going on? I always pick up a bit of local flavour from wherever I'm visiting. So you got like your English voice back when you started thinking about home? That's cool. Something like that. It's all a bit mental. I could say that here, of course. That's ruder in the UK. Yeah? You shouldn't say mental. And trucks are lorries. Oh, and do you smoke? What gave it away? Well, try not to get cross if anyone ever sees you. A fag. Chill. I knew that one. Well, that's good then. She looked real pleased with herself. I never had much patience for people who like testing boundaries for fun, but I had nowhere else to go. Is this Hedwig and Catherine? Is this like a weird mirror of their very first like interaction? Besides, who knows what else I would meet if I left. I was running into some real head cases today. Visiting family then? Yeah. Whereabouts, if you don't mind me asking? Up north a ways? I've got a long-ass bus ride once it gets to Heathrow. Isn't it funny how big a place like that can feel? Sure, it could probably fit into Cali, right? Oh, easily. Do you mind if I steal a chip? Huh? Oh, my mistake, a fry. Oh, sure. Thank you kindly. The press on nails didn't help, but I felt a little freaked out watching her pluck exactly one fry out of the box with her long fingers. It kind of looked like one of those nature shows where an eagle pulls the guts out of a fish or something. She ate it very carefully. I guess she had to. Her lipstick was pretty intense, and there wasn't a crumb or spot of grease on anything on her expensive-looking outfit. I do quite like those. It's terrible for me, of course, but what isn't it? It's what I can afford. Flights ain't cheap, turns out. Too right. She sucked her finger and thumb clean and dried them off on one of my napkins. Well, safe travels. Yeah, sure, thanks. She smiled at me and slid off her bar stool with a clack. I realized she was wearing expensive heels. Too expensive for anyone I've ever seen eating shit fast food at LAX. Oh god, I have to go to LAX. I have to do immigration at LAX. That sucks so much. I could hear every footstep across the tile floor as she left. I finished my burger and stuffed all the crap in the paper bag to throw away. As I got off the seat, I realized that woman's handbag was still on the counter. Oh, fuck. I really didn't feel like running errands, but if we're going to be on the same flight... I took the bag and got going towards the gate. I must have spent way too long eating that shitty burger because when I finally got to the gate, they were already boarding.
Technically, I think I was supposed to get on the plane first. Oh well. Guess I can't do that if I ain't there. Just so you know, ma'am, you can only put one bag under the seat. Yeah, got it. I always said that the handbag wasn't mine, but realized that was probably not the best thing to tell someone right before getting on a plane. Good instincts. Have you ever been on a plane? It's my first time. Boy, if I've been on planes. It feels weird on planes. As soon as you step in, it feels like the air is constantly being sucked away from you. Which I guess it kind of is. That's how the air conditioning or whatever works. It's like you're yawning even when you're not yawning. Yeah. Or like you got earplugs in even though you don't. It feels like dog shit, that's for sure. I was looking around for the woman I'd met at the fast food place, but I couldn't see her anywhere. Everyone was standing in the aisles putting their bags away, taking their jackets off, etc., etc. It's going to be impossible to find her. Ma'am, I'm sorry, but you're going to need to make some room. Do you need help finding your seat? Oh, no, sorry about that. Oh, shit. I wasn't far from my seat, but I was real nervous keeping this lady's bag with me. What if I got all the way to a foreign country with someone else's shit? What if she'd been wrong about what flight she was on? Would that be like an international crime? Last thing I needed was Interpol coming up to my ass over some rich lady's handbag. Sat down in my window seat and tried to stay calm. I figured I could at least wait until we were in the air, and I could walk around and make sure she wasn't on the flight before panicking too hard. Now, here's a coincidence. Oh, thank God. Hey, you left your bag on the table earlier. She put her hands over her chest and opened her mouth like a fish. Oh my God, thank you. I would have been proper to Devoed if I'd left it behind. Devo! Ah! Man, I have not seen Devo written down like ever, I think. She sat down next to me and I handed her the bag. She started reaching around inside it, I guess to check if anything had gotten lost. Phew, oh, there. And she pulled out a fat wad of bills and a money clip. Let's see. Oh, no, you don't got it. She licked her thumb, peeled off a small stack of bills and handed them to me. Don't be silly. This is $250. Pounds, love, but yeah. A little pocket money for your trip, yeah? Well, thanks. Not at all. Thanks for bringing me back. I knew you were alright when I first saw you. Weird. What a coincidence we're in the same row, eh? Yes, sir. I wanted something in the smoking section. Okay, what year is this happening? I guess with all like the VHS shit, it's like 80s stuff. Oh, I'm me as well. I think you don't mind then. No, go for it. She reached back into her bag and pulled out the most ridiculous pack of cigs I'd ever seen. The whole box was gold. Her lighter was almost a perfect match. The hell are those? Do you not get these here? Maybe, but I've never seen them. She held the box out to me and shook it, so exactly one cig stuck out. Didn't know how long she practiced that one, but it was impressive. Have you seen any of the adverts for these? No. They look very chic. Go on then, try it. I'd be curious to know what you think. What's your usual? I usually smoke whatever low tars I can get my hands on. Gotcha, not a big brand follower. Nah. Me either, typically. Some people like to pit them against each other, but I'll try anything as long as I like the look. Must be nice. She held her ridiculous lighter out to me. The cig she'd given me, I don't know if I'd call it good, but it sure tasted more expensive than my usual. Like watches. Do you ever think about watches? I know they're for telling the time. I held up my wrist to show her my cheap digital watch. She exhaled smoke but didn't respond. Sort of. I mean, they are, but they aren't. You know what I mean? They're jewelry, really. You should get a nicer one. They're way too expensive. My dad has one from some spy movie he liked as a kid. I asked how much it cost one time, and he was so mad when he told me. Sometimes things that are expensive are worse. Ooh, does he now? That'd be nice. That'd be a proper automatic. Someone else. Digitals are so much cheaper. I'm a bit biased, I suppose. Oh, I guess that was just Alex and the name didn't pop up, right? She held up her arm and pulled her sweater sleeve down to reveal her own watch. It was bright gold, although the dial was a shocking pink that I wouldn't have associated with the luxury brand name inlaid in gold. Holy shit, how much was that? I don't know, actually. Got this one instead of cash for some work I did a while back. Okay, I've got to ask, what do you do? Suppose I call myself a flaneur, if anything? Passant, if we're being grammatically correct? So you're professionally French? She laughed. She leaned back in her seat and flicked up a little ashtray in the armrest so she could ash a cigarette. Technically, I'm in publishing. Bit of a location scout, I think is the best way to describe it. I take special assignments. I travel a lot. I enjoy people watching. I had no idea publishers could afford that kind of lifestyle. Not book publishers, Alex, that's for sure. There's loads of people out there buying books not to read, love. I laughed. Fair enough. So what have you actually read? I'd be curious to know if you'd seen any of mine. I've skimmed Capital. Haven't we all? I like Chomsky. Any fiction? I don't have time for fiction. Oh, that stings. I just, if I'm reading something, I want it to matter. I could do other stuff for fun, I guess. She nodded thoughtfully. The captain came over the loudspeaker and announced something. It was impossible to tell what exactly, thanks to the shitty mic. Plus, books are expensive. I've got to pick stuff that counts. I feel like I know how every story is going to go the second I read the first sentence. She pointed at me with her cigarette approvingly. We're not so different then. I just come down to the other end, I suppose, but I get it. Who needs a book to tell you what you already know? That's why I prefer fiction myself. Maybe you just need to read different kinds of fiction. I never know what I'm going to get. So, what kind of books do you publish, anyway? I'm not the publisher, I'm just in publishing. So you're the heiress to a publishing company or something? She gave me a wicked grin. Like I said, I call myself a flaneur. I wish I knew what that meant. A passant, if we're being grammatically correct. It was around this point that the plane's engine started up. We put our cigarettes out and adjusted our seats to get ready for takeoff. Yeah, they've been on a plane before. First time. Don't let the bumpiness get to you. What? Huh? Okay, they just need layabout. Thank you. Oh, look. Huh? Hey, what was that? Are you gonna come back when I go to this cat picture? Can you explain what happened? Yeah, you're back. Okay, so we can watch this again. We like skip. I'm digging. I've got to know what the hell is going on here. I didn't expect to have to go spelunking through a video game. I thought we were just gonna like wrap up, but it ended on a cliffhanger, and now we're in an 80s airport. There's a burger. Who are these characters? Who's Alex and the weird lady? Okay, so from the way she speaks and what she was saying about like being like a location scout for book publishing, I think the weird lady is the same character who pops up, the character with the bangs. Yeah, she mentioned Alex mentioned that she had bangs down over her face. And we go to the characters and we don't know what Catherine looks like, and so I'm going to assume that's her somehow. And this is all Catherine and Hedwig. Somehow, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe it's Catherine. I want Catherine Hedwig to be like real so bad. Like I'm thinking back to the very first stream and the introduction and the very first meeting and how much I loved them, their interactions and stuff. I hope that like crazy time demon witches and the like infecting by computer homosexually. Catherine is the mastermind! I demand Catherine to be the mastermind! God damn. Oh. How about we just read these character profiles? Former anchoress, current spy, Matthew 26:52. I'm sure we'd looked that up before, but there's so many Bible verses that get dropped in here. Was that 52, did I say? Yeah. Those who use the sword will die by the sword. Oh, okay. Good to know. They all used it. Oh my god, they did. They all used it. Oh, the sherry. Okay. Okay, here's who used it on the sherry. Hedwig, Catherine, Eustace, Darcy, Moira, and Adela. The two old ladies had gone to bed by then, and Flora had run away. Uh, Angela wasn't invited, and neither was the soup. And Margaret was crying, and she didn't get a chance to do it. Um, but also, before that, Catherine had been training everyone to sword fight. And I don't know if that she got absolutely everybody, but yeah, you're right. It looks like they all used it at some point or another. Uh, that's not good. Catherine, chronicler. A friendship that was cut before it could fully bloom. I've never seen her face and I miss her dearly. Okay, so these are written by Hedwig. I've heard so much about her good works, but I have so many questions about what seems to be her flaws. I feel ghastly picking over the remains of her relationships, but I suppose it has to be done. I must remain polite as I write this, the superior. I respect the work that goes into running an abbey greatly. I understand her desire to find justice in a terrible situation. I just... And then she has nothing more to say about the soup. Ugh. Catherine, dabbler. Catherine is boorish and vain, but worst of all, she's incredibly clever. She's clearly impulsive, as evidenced by the fact I'm too pure to write. I'm unsure how sincere her eulogy for Catherine was. She makes it sound like they had a very competitive friendship. There are also rumors about her life before the Abbey that give me pause. Facts I'm too pure to write. She fucks. Margaret, the almoner. Quiet, calm, and very talented. At first I was at a loss at how she and Catherine could be such close friends, but they both have a wicked sense of humour. They're too clever by half. Margaret knows all the passageways around the Abbey. She showed me a terrible etching deep within the walls. She and Catherine seem to have been very close. Eucharist, the sacristan. I'm not sure what to make of my colleague. Her flat affect makes it difficult to understand what she really thinks. We do not share the same sense of humour, and she can be cruel. But so can I am discovering. And Eustace is very forgiving. She knows something I do not. I'm worried what that might be. Yeah, yeah, she really wanted Hedwig to stay away out of all of this. Lindbarrow's own little Hildegard. She cooks, she brews, she cares, all the plants and animals. I must admit I didn't expect any of that from her when we first met. Her manner of speaking is even flatter than Eustace's. Perhaps that is why they get along? Darcy is also by far the most honest about her complex relationship with Catherine. I really hope it wasn't her. Oh. Angela, the prior. Oh Lord, please grant me the strength to turn the other cheek. I do not like or trust this woman. She is from a convent in Italy. I wish she would go back there. I take a small amount of comfort knowing I'm not the only one who cannot stand her. Catherine in particular seems to despise her. I don't think she killed Catherine, but I know precious little about their relationship. I have to imagine it was as combative as ours. Moira, the infirmary. Moira is very kind and strong. Catherine's death moved her deeply. I'm impressed by her knowledge and the amount of work she is responsible for around the Abbey. She doesn't like the village as much. Adela, the oblate. She was the most recent oblate before I was made to leave my cell. I believe she said she was from Spain, but her mother is Italian. She hasn't said much about Catherine to me yet. She's much more interested in battle strategy. Flora, I'm not really sure what she does. Flora is frustrating. Later today, I'm to begin teaching her how to draw. Okay, so these notes were written just before the incredible cat drawing scene. I'm not sure I can. I've never taught anyone anything so directly. I'm more adept at offering spiritual advice. She doesn't seem to take her faith seriously, which concerns me. Yeah, Flora's just hanging out. It's like a bloke who does fuck all. I wonder if her encounter with the demon is going to impact her level of piety. Whether it's going to destroy it or make her really religious in reaction to it, or oh God, I hope she just survives in general. Marta, the cellar keeper. The eldest member of the congregation, but not the superior. I wonder why that is. I suppose she could be a latecomer to Lindbarrow. Her and Charity both seem to have moved around a lot. At first I thought she was kind and wise, but the more I hear from her, the more uneasy I am around her. She is wise, but she is cold. Some of her behavior reminds me of my most vindictive thoughts, which embarrasses and humbles me. Charity. Almoner. Charity is gregarious and kind. She discovered Catherine's body, and I can scarcely bring myself to ask her about all that whenever I see her big soft smile. She seems to have seen a lot in her life, and she served at several abbeys. I wonder why she's settled here. I also wonder how she puts up with Marta's cynical exterior. We haven't spoken much, save for her reassurance about Angela. James, stable by and suspect. He is rather pathetic. I do find it hard to believe he killed anyone. His family seemed willing to believe it, however. I'm not sure what to make of that. I feel compelled to protect him. Sopping wet cat of a man we must protect. And Richard, the Bishop of Carlisle. This man made me an anchoress. I cannot look at him without wondering how disappointed he must be in me for allowing myself to be dragged out of my cell. He made you an anchoress when you were like 9, Hedvig. I don't like this guy. I don't like that he would do that to a child. Oh hell yeah. Just open. It sounds like an Utena song chorus. Genesis Basic Elementary. Wrong RPM. Being sneaky too. I'm like, do we have to click on all of these to see if anything more pops up? Because I know this did happen. Can I like scroll through them? Oh, the gang's all here. This is a cool scene, even though I blew my voice out trying to like do it. Okay, I know these happened. This happened. This definitely happened. That was fucking scary to look at. Baby creature, small boy, little thing. I use this one as a thumbnail. Okay. Oh yeah, I made a Sans Undertale joke at that one. Uh, so many little goblin-y, ghoulish little guys. Oh, Darcy with the sheep, I like this one. I'm just going through them. Yeah, that's God with the sexton. I don't know what that means still. There's Angela with her cool knife that fucking rolled. Here's everybody breaking the cask. Kitty. There's a guy. There's the fucking guy. Who is this man? So we have come to the end of Misericorde Volume 1. And I have so many questions. But I am so convinced that Catherine is the mastermind somehow. Somehow, some misbegotten, devilish way, Catherine is the mastermind, and we're going to see more of her. I want to see more of her so bad. Oh, but how to wrap up? How do we... This is part 8 and the final part, and it's over. Maybe Catherine is Satan. Sure. Satan works in publishing. Yeah, it's not like the game wrapped up. It ended on a cliffhanger, and then it provided us with like an insane teaser. Brings out everyone's desire. Yeah, yeah, I like this theory. Catherine is Satan. Provokes people. She's kind of like emotionally seductive. No, I believe it. It feels real. She's got, yeah, something about the imagery of everyone using her sword to bust open these big casks of wine that go everywhere and splatter them all in like what looks like blood. It's evocative. Moira. I just like this picture of her. This is the end thus far, I guess. And I don't know when Volume 2 will be coming out. Uh, yeah, it's a solo project. The goat imagery, which is both satanic, but it's also bacchanalian. I like that point. Yeah. I don't know if we have anything that ties Catherine specifically to goats, but like the whole story is full of goats, just in general. But yeah, this is like a solo project, so I have to expect that Volume 2 won't be coming out for quite some time. Um, and I certainly have like no demands on ZC. But I want it to come out soon. That would rule. I don't know when it will though. I'm definitely going to join the Patreon about it. I don't know. I feel weird about. I felt weird about joining the Patreon before I finished this, just because like I don't know, I didn't want to run into spoilers, and I wanted to make sure I like it, and I really, really like it. I've liked it this whole time, but sometimes things end poorly and shatter your perception of them. But this didn't. This ended. Well, it didn't really end. It ended on a cliffhanger, which, like, as Volume 1 of the murder mystery, it was always going to, be unsatisfying at the ending. But that fucking 80s airport teaser shit, whatever was going on there, I'm fucking fascinated by that. I'm captivated by whatever the hell is going on. I don't think it popped up on my like recording, but when we finished the 80s airport moment, I got an achievement called 5,000 Years Hence, and the description of which is just "See you soon." So what's up with that? Oh my god. So I don't know when I can stream next for a lot of reasons. One, we run out of the thing I was streaming. But also, two, in less than 2 weeks' time, I'm going to be getting on a plane to New York City where I will be studying for 2 years. And I will get a stream set up there eventually. But for the first like 2 weeks or so, I'm going to be staying with a friend because I don't have an apartment yet. Because so much of just was just organizing the visa that I didn't have time to organize an apartment. But when I get an apartment, I will stream again. But I don't know what it'll be. Um, hmm. We'll have to have a think about that, what we want to say. Um, but thank you, everyone who has joined me on this long journey through Lynn Barator. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And I'm really going to miss this. I'm going to miss Nunday, even though we did not keep it on a weekly schedule at all. And we went over a month between the most recent stream and this one because I fucked off to Aotearoa, New Zealand for a while. But we'll come up with the new stream. We'll do something soon. But yeah, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully I can get all set up in New York soon. We were doing other things. We stayed one night in an old converted convent, and we went in the big tubs, the big wooden tubs, spa in the forest. I mean, we also had like a lot of just like staring at nature and thinking about the nature of existence. We did a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff. I don't know why Lord of the Rings and nuns occupy a similar sort of concept in my mind. I guess it's just like I was gonna be like we did a lot of reading epics and like no, we didn't really, but we did do a lot of thinking about fictional epics, autism stuff. Yeah, we did a lot of delightful autism stuff. Oh. As soon as I get a setup in New York, we're gonna do more autism stuff, by which I mean streaming, and I'm looking forward to it, whatever that may be. But thank you very much. Mwah.